What's up, y'all? It's your girl Espo. It's your girl Latia.
This is DJ Nugget. Hotline.
This is Jasmine Ford.
Okay, you guys been trapped with Sincethe90s.
Girl Tosh.
Buff Bone.
Ludi boy. Yo, what up? It's your boy Wiz Khalifa, man. And I just kicked it right here. Smoked real big with the Bird Boys.
Real quick.
Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. This is the Tuesday Night Chill Spot with the Berg Boys. And my name is DJ Motorman. We got DJ Spills.
What's up, guys?
And our brother Flack, Sir Flackwood, in the building.
What's up, fools? Happy Tuesday, fellas. Cheers. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday, Taco Tuesday, Taylor Tuesday, Berg Boys Tuesday, however you feel. Thanks for tuning in. We got a wonderful show for you guys tonight with a special guest.
Can't wait.
Zeke from Sincethe90s, who's the co-founder and head of A&R at Sincethe90s. So we definitely excited to talk to him today. This is episode 134, guys.
I know, man. That's awesome. That's awesome. I can't even believe
That's awesome. I mean,
we like seniors. We like seniors at this shit now, man. I'm getting gray hairs from doing this shit.
you was getting them before we even started. Don't lie, bro.
Man, gee, I'm getting these grays. Right. I'm getting these grays, man.
Good hair grays.
You still look like Derek Fisher, right? Isn't that right, Flack?
Swear you do.
You never know. I might transform. I might be Derek Fisher. I might be your granddad tomorrow. You never know.
You're funny yourself.
What you smoking on today, Flack?
Nah, your business, because I'm trying to find it, see?
Ooh,
I'm a I can't.
He's scrambling.
You trying to figure out what flavor you want to smoke.
I'm trying to find my sack. I got so much garbage. I got my tray is dirty.
He had a party before we started, man.
Yeah, I know, right? It's crazy. What have you guys been up to though since last week? What you been doing?
Getting kills on Warzone.
Oh shit.
Yeah, me too. I'm trying to get my kills up in Warzone, but I played basketball and ran track 2 days ago, and I'm still sore.
I see you've been running, man. Keep running. Run a mile for me too while you're at it,
bro. I feel like the oldest man in America right now.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Yesterday my back was hurting. Now today my legs are sore, so I'm still in recovery mode. But I'm gonna do some extracurricular activity after we get off of here.
Yeah, I feel you.
So what's going on in the news, you guys? Running. I know, right? Run a mile for him. You guys excited about the NBA coming back? What y'all think about the casino being reopened? Is the Tesner squad back in back?
Are we back in session? I don't know, bro. I don't know. We gotta wait. I gotta wait for a couple of these better games to start. You know,
I ain't sparked that yet.
Y'all ain't bet on the soccer or the NASCAR yet?
I ain't bet on nothing yet, bro. I'm waiting for hoops, bro. I'm saving all my money for hoops, bro.
Yeah, I did.
They ain't wiping me out too soon.
I bet on a couple UFC fights in soccer. That was it. But
UFC. I like that. I haven't dabbled in any of them yet. I actually haven't even opened any of my betting apps yet until I'm gonna wait. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna wait until hoops come back. But I'm excited for hoops to come back, man. What y'all think about what the narrative right now behind the league coming back during this time of protesting and the things Kyrie Irving had to say about going back, because he had a couple players that tapped in with him that said they're having some issues with probably coming back as well. But what you guys think, man? You guys think that the league should come straight back, or they should just say forget about it?
No, they got to come back, bro. They got to They got to come back because then if they come back, they back on national TV. You feel me? So they can still spread their message during half times, during pregame warm up shit. You know what I mean? During end of your games. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
they might
No,
Sure.
well.
I think they definitely should come back for sure. I mean, hey, if you have a stance like that and you want to take that stance, he has every right to take that stance, and he should if he wants to. You know what I mean? But if they come back, it's I'm sure he'll probably end up coming back. If he doesn't, that's a choice he makes. And as an individual, like you have your right. You know. And in
Well,
these times, I
there's a
get
few
it. I
players.
completely get it, man. There's a few. There are, and it's. I mean, it's like kind of doing a Kaepernick thing at this time, for
Right,
the
that's right.
NBA.
I think one of the players that I like to highlight is Damian Lillard because he said specifically before the protesting that um, for COVID related reasons he probably wouldn't come back. And
That would be another valid.
since
That would be another valid reason.
then, like now we have two things to go against because like all right, some players might not come back because of COVID. Some players might not come back because they're not comfortable with
Now,
what's going on in the world right
now,
now.
see, this is the COVID thing. The only thing I can say to you know kind of shut him down in a sense would be all the NBA players when they come back, they're going to get tested. You know what I mean? Like they have enough money. There's enough tests out there. Those guys, just like the UFC, every one of them is going to have to get tested. You know what I mean? As a precaution. So
Yeah, I know it's
Hell yeah.
probably going to be nerve wracking though because they released ESPN and SportsCenter released something about the NBA plans to test them every other. I think it's every other day or something like that, or every other week or something like that.
yeah, I
So
mean that makes
basically,
sense.
every week they're getting tested.
Yep, absolutely. As they should.
That would be
As they
nerve wracking
should.
to keep getting that daggone thing stuck up my nose, man. I just
Yeah.
probably say forget about it.
They
But
say it goes all the way up here.
when Braun say it's time to hoop, it's time to hoop.
Yeah,
That's it.
you're right. You're right. Facts, bro. Dude, I'm so excited, man. I've been excited
That's
all
it.
week for this fucking episode, man. I'm looking forward to talking to Zeke. A lot of big shit,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, we definitely don't want to take up too much time, but I just wanted to get into the
You got that little
few current events. Would you
Yeah,
say?
absolutely.
Spills got. I think Spills got that motherfucking welcome to Verizon headset on. Telemarketer ass nigga, man. He got
Oh
the
shit.
he got the
No,
I'm
I
looking
have
your account up right now. I'm
I
looking
have
your account
this
up right
real
now.
I have this real tiny one in my ear, honestly. And it was about to die. That's why I had to put on my gaming headset.
How
But
much you
yeah.
pay for that one, bro?
What's your password on that account?
All right. I can't tell you, Flack.
Ooh,
No,
shit.
but hey, no, I was gonna tell you. Really, I was. You know that. And then I'm like, oh shit, we're live. I can't do that over the air.
Well,
I'm on
look,
here.
Funny as
we're
fuck.
without further ado, we're going to bring our guest on in a second. Just wanted to introduce him once again. We're going to welcome on our guest Zeke from Sincethe90s, a Pittsburgh native, co-founder and head of A&R at Sincethe90s. So, welcome, Zeke.
that mask off, face the future like high noon. The news keep on saying we'll die soon. Sit back and roll up to my tunes.
All right, man, we're back and we got our featured guest today, the brother man Zeke from Pittsburgh, since the '80s, Fab Five original.
What?
Sir Flack in the building with the pertinent smells. What you got over there, G? Can you share some of that with us? You don't gotta pass it, but
Man, you done put it on us, man. Say no. Hey, dog, it's the but huh? Some good to butter.
okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, man, we're back and we got Zeke in the building. Make some noise.
That's my explosion. That's my explosion.
Yeah.
That was a good explosion.
It was. It's fantastic. I approve.
Man, your background looks very nice, man.
No, that's just my real
Look at
backyard.
Skills, man.
That's my real backyard. Yeah. I'm just hanging
He's
out.
That's your backyard?
Yeah.
Facts.
Damn,
Yeah.
your shit is very majestic.
That's right. It's very nice sitting around a fire just chilling. And I love it. Listening to music.
That's
Man,
You
Zeke,
got
thanks so
Home
much for
Depot
joining
credit
us,
card.
man. I did. You're
Did
right.
you say Home Depot?
Yeah,
You
he
got a
said I
Home
got
Depot credit card. That's why, you know what I mean? That's a cheat code, to be honest.
You're funny as hell.
Hey, did you get them hedges that they was talking about last time?
Yeah, they told me to clip the hedges. I didn't get the time. I didn't get to it.
You better get Tom to do it or something.
I know. Get the neighbor over here. Yeah, throw him some money. Case of beer, right? That's my buddy Tom works for. That's right.
Facts.
But Zeke, thank you so much for joining us, man. I hope everything's going well with you.
Yeah, no complaints, bro. I'm chilling like everybody else is
I hear you.
in the house. You know.
Let's just. You got the hat on. I have to drop it. I mean, tell everybody what's going on with the hat right now.
Yeah, so Epitome, we have these hats, and we're donating all the proceeds of these sales to Boom Concepts. Mark Bagnata and Mike are kind of like the forefront of the brand. Me personally, it's something we started years ago, and I just try my best to support without having too much say so outside of like designs and things like that. But that's what this hat represents.
Word. Y'all ain't have no legalities that y'all had to fight with the pirate man, did y'all?
Mark's a smart guy, so I'm sure that he made all the right changes to make sure that we were free of lawsuit. So
Word. Well, it's definitely legit, and I mess with it for sure, man. I like the flavors y'all got too. I seen a couple different colors, so
Yep.
definitely
There's a
have
gray one
to
with a
get
black
me one of
brand.
them myself.
Yeah, 3 colors.
Now to start this thing off, man, we love to tell people about our guests, and we like to start off at the beginning, and a lot that people from Pittsburgh may know you from is when you started out with Fab Five. Because Fab Five is real instrumental in the city for like throwing a lot of cracking ass parties, and
man,
you know what I'm saying,
good time,
seeing them everywhere.
Yeah,
so can you talk a little bit about about Fab Five?
Yeah, so Fab Five, it's an entertainment company really. Started by 5 people. One of my partners, still to this day, Barry, started with four of his closest friends. It was Barry, Billy, Afani, Brandon, and Sean. And when I came into the fold, it was probably like 2007. I was in high school, so I think I was a senior in high school. And I got connected with Afani and Barry, and kind of just, you know, brought, I felt like, a little younger feel to what was already going on. And we were throwing parties everywhere, all around the city. Really focused on university students, focused on young professionals that were just looking for something to do and just kind of be that outlet for entertainment in the city at a time where Pittsburgh wasn't really known for bringing people per se. We brought Big Sean in, we brought Wale in, we brought Currency in, we brought a lot of people in just to kind of foster that community around music. Yeah, that's what it was, man. It was a good time. At that time in the city, like there was hella venues. Ludic was still open.
Yep.
Yeah,
I remember on Pitt's campus, especially Originals.
Yes.
Spot. Now it wasn't parties at Originals.
Yes.
But can you speak on the history of Originals and how much of it played a part and history for you?
I think it was just a landmark, really. You know what I mean? Like it's a place where you knew everyone was going to be at the very least, and everyone's night was going to converge there. Even if it started, everyone's night was going to converge in one place at one point. You knew that you're going to see everyone that was out the night. You knew you're going to find out about what was going on that night, what had happened that night. And it always was that. It always was that. And that was kind of just like the centerpiece of the city for a long time.
Facts. Now, being in Fab Five, you've had over 12 years with these guys, and
yeah, that's crazy.
You've known Barry that you work with, more I would say exclusively now on other ventures. Like, can you speak on how like that relationship with you and Barry has grown?
Like I said, I met Barry when I was 17. I'm 30 now. So me and him, I think Barry's like 36 now. We're about 6 years ahead, 6 year age gap. There was a point, I think, for him where he looked at the parties as like a segue to what he wanted to do next. Me personally, I was always super into music and on the backside of things. And I think our vision aligned with wanting to be in the industry, wanted to work in music, wanted to work with artists, and wanted to to build artists from scratch and be able to put them in a place, that we always used to not even glorify, but like aspire to. You know what I mean? So like for us, I think around, I want to say maybe 2010, 2011, our shift. Yeah, we're still throwing parties, but it started to slow down. They ended up moving back to Atlanta. I was still in Pittsburgh running around, and we just, you know, you had Wiz that was doing this thing, you had Mac doing this thing, and we were all peers. You know this, obviously, Motor. Like we were all peers, and seeing everyone take their strides into the national level and really do it from a very humble space of Pittsburgh and do it at a very high level. I think for me and Barry, which is more of a battery in the back of like, okay, this is more than possible. We're seeing our peers do it, but also like, we have the ability to do, to do it as well at a high level. So me and Barry have been working closely since we've met each other. And a lot of people think, me and him are very similar in terms of thought, but we disagree all the time. I think we trust each other enough to disagree with each other. And, granted, we might have the same goal. We have different tactics of getting to that goal. So it's always been a beautiful relationship, one that has always fostered growth, not only in personal life, but also in professional life. So there's a mutual respect there. There's no like, and as much as there's a big brother, little brother vibe, like, it's very like when it comes to work and building things together, it's always been equal opinion. It's never been like one person's opinion is better than the other. It's always been we gonna fight it out, argue it out, and get to a common ground with whatever thing we've done. So that's kind of been the maturation, I guess, of Fab Five. Even with even Q, like Q still working with Quentin and a lot of people we work with. It's always been family first. It's always been people we've known and have tried to foster in and help progress professionally. It's always come from that. It's never been on no industry shit. It's always been very grassroots, very like each one teach one.
Oh,
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, to speak on that, like, from these are just a few local people I know you work with, Hardo,
Yeah,
Christo, like,
yeah.
like you've truly been able to help, move their careers in a in
It,
a in a strong way.
it's wild though, because it's like me and Chris went to high school together. So like,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
that's, I
like,
remember him saying that.
yeah, we went to high school together. He just, I don't know if he's 21, but he just signed his first pub deal. So like, being able to work with everyone
nice.
from very early beginnings to now, and like be a part and us all have a part in each other's narratives have been like crazy.
Yeah,
It's wild, especially being from the city. Like that's not something you see happen like all the time, and something that you can like see happen. Like I feel like people
Right.
that know me in the city like really saw it from like from
yeah,
very early beginnings. Um, the same way we got to see it with people that came before us. So for me, it's just wanting to make sure that kind of bridge is always there.
yeah.
That bridge is
And
always there.
I wanted to ask specifically with Christo, do you guys manage him as well? Because I know he's in
Hmm.
production and also he DJs for
Yeah, we
Jid.
manage Crystal as well. You know, yeah, we manage Crystal as well. In the very beginning when we started working with JID early, um, super early, me and Barry kind of put Crystal and Jid together to because I think for me early on when I was giving Jid Crystal beats, I think the first ones he made were like Underwear and Never, which ended up coming back full circle when we put his first project out 2 years later. But you could hear chemistry earlier, like you hear chemistry earlier, and even from working with Crystal with Devin Miles, like there was always a sound, and Crystal's always been very forward thinking in terms of sound and towards the production.
Mm.
So we always felt like as we grew, the people that we were working with were going to be able to grow with us, and it blossomed into something even probably further from what I expected at the time, and like now seeing it grow and seeing it the rate, and watching Christo in studios with like no ID, and seeing him amongst greats, and like people respecting his sound, knowing where it comes from, and seeing that growth has always been like that's what's special. It's like being able to see like, okay, there's this talent from Pittsburgh that stands up on a national level, and that is like a token to the city and a token to like hard work and dedication. Because I'll say the thing about Crystal is that ever he's never once ever doubted anything. He's always just worked with his head down. He's never looked around and looked at what everyone was doing. He was always very focused on what he was doing. And y'all know Chris, so he's simple. Like, you know,
Yeah.
he be chilling. He be chilling. He just be working. And I think people that are talented and very sure of themselves that just work like end up somewhere always every time.
True.
I agree.
True. Now to go back just a little further, um, you did some community work. You've worked with the Community Empowerment Association
Wow, you
for
took it
3 years.
back. Yeah, you
Yeah,
took it
yeah,
back.
yeah.
That's where I
I
started.
gotta get to the roots.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
so being that you did, some work there as a special events coordinator, am I
yeah,
correct?
yeah. You
How
correct,
was that like for you?
man. I gotta really, really, really give it up to Adam Martell, Rashad Birdsong, everyone that was at CA at the time. I was definitely in high school. I was like maybe sophomore, junior in high school, and at the time I was just interning in the beginning, right? And on that side, it was about figuring out ways to mobilize, like black people in the city, like giving them something to do every summer, something that one showcase talent in the city, one that was a celebration of like food and arts, but was very centered around the local entrepreneurs and local musicians and local artists. And you know uh, that exposure like showed me a lot. Like it taught me a lot. Like because at that time we were very hands on. We were booking the talent. I'm talking to agents at 15, 16. We're trying to find vendors. We had to go get permits for the city for locations, this and third. So and then at the same time, it was all to get back to the city. It was all to get back, to the youth, like my peers and people younger than me, and giving them something to do, something that was always peaceful and very like you know, end of summer kind of thing, or like a summer event. So yeah, CEA that was like
Yeah.
foundation one of me even thinking about it. Because at the time I went from that into throwing parties, so it was
Right.
pretty. It was an easy transition. We
I,
were pulling anywhere from like 10 to 12,000 people in the city, and we had literally 2 months to plan it, trying to pull in sponsors here, this, and third, because I was in high school, and then I think Martell was at Howard, and Adam was coming back from Morehouse. So we are all, just three of us in the office, riding Homewood, trying to figure it out. And, that those were good
That's
times. Those were good
that's
times.
great experience to be able to fall back on, man.
Yeah,
right.
those were good
And that
times. Yeah.
and that's like before you even go to Pitt.
That is
Because
before I went to Pitt. Yeah.
you went to Pitt, you got your bachelor's in what was it? I think it says
Now I
science
got a
I dropped
degree.
communication.
out.
You
What's
did
even
drop out.
crazy, yeah, I dropped out my junior year. I had 3 semesters left. And I'll never forget, right? I had 3 semesters left, and it was a situation where it was like school was cool. It was pretty easy, like, but I remember being in like classes and being like, bro, I'm like, yeah, I could graduate, but like I'm looking around and like what I'm trying to do versus what everyone else is in here trying to do is just two different things. So
Wow.
I just left and went fully hard in the music space. I went fully hard in the music space. That's when I started working with Devin and Crystal, and then maybe a year or two later, I started working with Earth Gang and JID and Yomza, and it kind of I just never looked back. I just kind of had some tunnel vision. Like I left and I was like, if I drop out, I can always go back for 3 semesters. That's not really shit, but I want to leave now because it's a lot different. Like sleeping on couches and just grinding out at 22, 23,
Mhm.
as opposed to trying to do that shit at 27, 28. You know what I mean? So in my
Facts.
head, I was like, fuck it. Like, I'm young. Like, I'm not at a space where I feel like I'm too good to do anything. I'm cool with couch surfing. I'm cool with doing whatever it took.
Right.
I'm still in that college space, so it's not like I even had seen that much in terms of like wealth, in terms of any money. So it was coming from a pure place, and because it was coming from a pure place, like I was going that hard about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, before we go further, I want to go back to the community empowerment days. I want
Mm-hmm.
to ask, with the situation that's going on now with all the protesting and police brutality and the racism talk, uh,
Yeah.
a lot of these things have always been prevalent,
Yeah.
but now that it's more on the surface, right now, how do you think your community empowerment experience can equate to change now?
Yeah. Shout out to Lee Davis too. Um, from the CA days. The thing about CA, what really taught me is like when you're trying to affect change, like you really gotta do it on the ground level, like on a very ground level. And if you're not super proximate to the issue or close to the people you're trying to talk to, like everything a lot of the tactics that you think about, a lot of things you're trying to do, like sometimes although ambitious, it goes over heads. So I think like with CA, it taught me just like it's okay to be front and center and really listen to what people want and then figure out ways to try to achieve that and help that. So for us, it was like in the beginning of planning, it was always like, who do you want to see? Like, what is something that the city wants, and not just the city, but what is something like the youth want to do? So it was like, okay, well, we knew they wanted basketball tournaments. So it was like, okay, let's set up this sponsor to put up a basketball tournament in the course of this weekend. And we also knew like, okay, well, there's an older population in Pittsburgh that is has memories, vivid memories of the jazz days in the Hill District and the rich music history that the city had to offer. So our Sunday was always geared towards like, let's do something for the old heads. Let's do something for them to come out, bring people that they remember growing up listening to, that they would feel comfortable sharing that tradition with, you know, their kids. I think now with everything going on, it's just like I think it's important to just look at things on the ground level and figure out ways to try to make our community stronger, not just by education, but also by giving you know, kids something to do, like
Facts.
really enrich their experience and make them proud of where they grow up at. It's hard to like I think in Pittsburgh specifically, like we're really proud of like, you know, you from home, you from Wilkinsburg, you from the hill, like niggas be proud of where they're from. But I think it's also about giving and showing them beauty within their own neighborhood, like showing them some type of infrastructure.
Mhm.
You know, you can stay here and build this up and still have a good life. I think we live in a time now where everyone's like, you know, you grow up thinking like, I gotta be a millionaire, I gotta be this, that, and the third. But in reality, if you want to be in the 1% of the world, you only need $300,000. Like no one ever told me that growing up. No one ever told me you only needed X, Y, and Z to be wealthy in the world. You grow up thinking so large, and that's not a problem thinking large. But with thinking large, a lot of people don't think practical. You know,
True.
they just see this number, this figure, and think by any means I got to get an M. But that's not
It's
really
not
true.
realistic. Yeah, it's not
It's not
realistic.
really
Yeah,
true. It's not realistic. And
yeah,
that M, to make the M is one thing, but to keep X, Y, and Z coming in
yeah.
is another. To make them is one thing. To keep money coming in and to build infrastructure and build generational wealth is one thing. But for me, when it comes to everything going on right now, I think it's just really important to just get back to the basics. Like, you know, have open communication and like also listen to the kids, bro. Like the kids are the future. So if anyone's really going to be able to affect change, it's them. And you know, if you listen to them and help them out, you're effectively changing your community. You're effectively changing things for the better.
That's awesome, man. I'm glad you was able to tap in on that. I think that's very important for people to understand now, especially because um, a lot of what we see going on right now is just the
Yeah.
protesting and the rioting and stuff like that. But
Mm-hmm.
like, what's going to be important moving forward is definitely the boost to the ground and you know, the things that we can do as communities and community members to be able to push everything forward, because we got to push past it with
I
some type of plan. It can't just be, all right, we just gonna march forever, we just gonna talk
Yeah.
forever. Like, we gotta do something.
You
Well,
gotta do
whatever
something,
we're
man.
capable of doing, we gotta do
Yeah,
it.
it don't matter how big or how small either. Like, you know, because
Facts.
it's a complicated issue. It's not something that can just be cured with one thing. It's a myriad of issues that we face in our communities. And I think, you know, when people decide to tackle one thing at a time as opposed to just trying to do everything at once, like we'll have a bit more success. But and it has to continue happening. It can't just be something that we do today and forget about tomorrow. It just has to be an
Right.
ongoing conversation. And that's what's
Right.
good about now is that it seems as though this is going to be an ongoing conversation, especially while quarantine is going on. I think that is probably helping it stand in front of people's minds because we're all at home thinking about the
Hmm.
same. We're all at home watching the same stuff. So, um, yeah, bro, that's what I would say. Yeah, you brought up
Facts.
CA. I'm thinking there's so many members of CA. That's crazy. That's really wild.
Well, now we can get into more of, you know, what you're doing now as well, with since the '80s. Now, can you speak on how you guys came up with the idea to come up with the name and everything else?
Yeah. So my partner Key Henderson, she came up with the name, but since the '80s it's always been a nod to the commercialism of like our culture in the '80s of rap music, of not even rap music, but just music from our black music. I'll say becoming like really a commercial property. Like you see Adidas with Run DMC, you see the beginnings and the makings of like great music labels, of Def Jams and things like that. So it was an ode to the culture. It was an ode to the beginnings of that, to those great companies that really were a driving force. and putting us to where we are today. That's what Sincethe90s was culturally. Like I'm born in 1990s, they're born in 1980s, but me personally, I'm a 90s baby. But that's what the name was a nod to.
Now you guys have gotten some big talent under you with 21 Savage, obviously being like one of the bigger acts, as well as Earth Gang. Can you talk and I can mention the others,
No, you're
JID,
fine. Yeah, you good.
um, no, Neonza, but Neonza's been a part of that history fold too for a while, that I'll get back into in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
But um, with these artists, can you tell us how you kind of acquired, some of these artists?
At the time of us merging, she was managing 21 Savage at the time. She's no longer managing him now, but at the time, she had her own management company called Governed by Loyalty, and her and Measy were partners on 21 Savage, and me and Barry obviously had Fab Five, and we had, you know, JID, Earth Gang, Neomza. So 2017, Ethiopia, who's the president of Motown, and Ezekiel Lewis, who's currently at Epic but was the vice president at the time. You know, being staunch supporters of us, they came together and they were like, "Look, we see what you guys have done. We watch you guys grow in the industry. We'd love to give you opportunity to do it from a label standpoint." And once you hear that, it's like one of those things like, we're up for the challenge. And so 2018 we got our deal at Capital Motown, and we've kind of just been learning, figuring out, um, you know, from a label perspective versus a management perspective is completely different. So trying to understand those differences and figuring out ways to scout talent. And for us, we've always worked with things from scratch. So it was very important for us to be able to find talent, sign it early, be able to develop it for a couple of years, and really present it the way we wanted to present it. And even if we didn't want to sign it, have a home where we could work with it on the label side if we wanted to, work with it on management side if we wanted to, and then also work with it on the publishing side because we have a publishing arm at Sony ATV, a joint venture with Sony ATV on the publishing side. So it was just being able to allow us the freedom to work with artists we wanted to work with that we believed in and we wanted to invest in early without having to play the come back when you have this amount of streams, this and third. We're very big on building shit from the beginning and letting time speak for itself.
I was going to say, like, artist development, you guys have always been very, 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 very good at it. You really have. Kudos to you guys for that. Absolutely.
That. Yeah, I think it everything we've ever worked with, we always had long-term plans for. Like, I always looked at anything I ever signed as like something that would be here 5-10 years later. And with that, to be able to have those type of careers, you have to take your time, and you have to not only take your time, you have to allow artists to grow into what they are going to become. You can't kind of force that growth because eventually it runs out. So you wanted to be able to develop their recording process, want to be able to put them in rooms with different people, want them to be able to take their time, as opposed to that idea of like, okay, you sign now you got to rush everything out. We want artists to be able to present it the way they want to present it. And that's what I think we hold dear to ourselves is just being able to be a home where artists can be themselves. They don't have to feel rushed. There's no, I guess,
it's so yeah, no pressure. It's purely organic. Like you guys literally, you let them, take the process as they need it, and it's actually something that's almost unheard of in a sense in this industry, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like now things happen so fast, right? So things happen so fast. So and there's nothing wrong with that either. We just never had anything that just popped off that quickly. We've had artists that we work with 2-3 years, and then now you're starting to see, you saw JID get a national recognition. You see Neomza get some national recognition from songwriting on certain records. You see Earth Gang being nominated for best group on BET Awards. That's all from like
shout out to them for that.
Shout out to that. That's huge. You just like it's no big deal. That's amazing.
Yeah, Grammy, not that's a big deal, but that's like growth. It's like that's from 3-4 years of working the foundation. Like
Yep.
even where Hardo is now compared to when we first had him, like his ability, like you can see real growth, not only personally but on a professional level. And for us, that's the best part is seeing something really raw, talented, and putting it in a space where you're allowed to see it grow. You know what I mean? Like that's why I'm super excited about Benji. I'm super excited about Jordan Hawkins and some of the newer people we've signed. You know, even putting Benji and Spill, it's like seeing him around other talented individuals hold his own and like really stick out. Like that's special. That's
Yep.
what you want to see when you're working with artists. You want to be able to put them in a myriad of different scenarios. You want to see them swim on their own.
Agreed. Now, can you speak to the effect of how um, the experience of being a creative director with Remember Music?
Oh yeah, I think that experience it was how can I put this? It was. I mean, I think if you manage your creative director, period, that's how I feel, right? So it was
And
ideation.
you've had sorry to cut you off, but you've had your experience in time with Neomza from that
From that,
fold as
yeah,
well.
yeah. I remember when Max signed Neomza. Um, she was 18 coming to LA for the first time. So um, all those experiences is like it adds another layer. It's like another focus. Like so now at that point, I'm looking at things in not only a more professional level, but it's like all right, there's budgets involved. Like with Neom's project, Sad for You, it's like how it's like branding. It's like really when you're trying to really package something, and like the music is one part, but you're trying to package a narrative. You're trying to package a story. Um, I've always felt like the best stories are always told again, over and over. And if you figure out a way to tell a story and tie that story to music, and the music is shown, then you put out something that's going to last. You know what I mean? Like Wiz did it with Cushion OJ. You know what I'm saying? Like Mac did it with Faces. Mac did it a bunch of times. Wiz did it a bunch of times. It's like when there's something that people can relate to and something that can hit them directly, they can get it and you can spell it out for them. Like it's important. So like in that frame, it was trying to figure out ways to brand their artists, figuring out ways to cut through and ways to cut through that didn't necessarily have to tie to like this is the next artist Max signs and kind of figure out ways to develop their own individual stories, their own individual narratives, so that they can stand out as artists themselves.
Was there anything from that era that you felt like you had to get right this in this era, like going forward with since the '80s?
No, I feel like everything kind of like transitions into the next phase. Like, I don't know, there's nothing that like sticks out from that era other than like patience. You know, just being patient and allowing things to fall where they may fall. Um, I stopped having. I think with that era, I stopped having expectation and like going into things with expectation. And instead of going things with expectation, I just started going into things with like an actual plan of like this is what I want to execute, as opposed to like this is where I want to be at. It was more so like this is what I want to execute, and if I execute said plan, I'll be cool with it. Like I'll be cool with it because I know if we do it the right way, then we'll get the results that we're looking for,
Right.
as opposed to attaching an expectation to it and then trying to then meet that expectation. It's like, sometimes that can enter a backwards thought, and sometimes it can if you don't hit that expectation, it can your morale can suffer. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
True.
but when you look at things in like a very practical, like 1+1=2, step by step, you tend to get better results. At least for me personally, I tend to get better results.
Now, I wanted to dive
Black
into
eye is hell
something
over
real
here.
quick.
Yeah, right. You see him? He's like sleeping.
Black
And
eye is over there.
He's sweating bullets, and he keeps wiping his face. He's like, oh,
Well, I'm here. I'm here.
I know you is. I
I'm
know you
active in
is.
the chat.
Yeah. I wouldn't
I was
expect
gonna,
anything else.
I wanted to dive into something real quick too. With etiquette. I wanted to talk about etiquette as far
Yeah.
as like with artists that especially coming out of our area, we see a lot of because there's a lot of talent here, but there's always kind of like a little window where people either figure it out or they just fall off. Um, what can you say about like having the proper like artist development etiquette, etiquette with like digital marketing, etiquette with even like brand awareness? Because
I think it's important for artists to figure out their voice, like their voice specifically. Like, obviously we live in this space where things move so fast. A lot of artists, like for me, a red flag is always when artists start paying too close attention to what their peers are doing. Like, oh, he did this, so I'm gonna do this. I think it's important for artists to have like a clear vision, and even if they don't have it, for them to be around a team that helps shape their vision. Because they're always gonna begin and end with the artist. Like your team is just like a coaching staff. Like, they're coaching you out of belief of bringing you from one level to another level. Um, so for me, like when it comes to digital marketing and branding and images like that, it's like take your time to figure out how you want to be presented. And for me, also, it's always music first. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, why should I care? Like, why does your story matter? And I think if you put your story in a perspective of this is why it matters, and you figure out a way to tell your story, no matter your ability, like people always gonna respect the story. Period. No matter if it's Shakespeare or Harry Potter or the Bible, like when it's the story told correctly and you figure out who you telling your story to, everything else gonna fall in line. That's the hardest part. That's the hardest part is figuring out who your audience is and and. Mm-hmm.
We're back.
Yeah.
So we were talking about etiquette with artists as far as awareness, brand
Yeah,
awareness, and
Flack, talk
putting out
about
their voice
etiquette.
and everything.
Flack's phone just died on him.
But yeah, and also like don't take yourself too seriously. Like I see a lot of artists that are always looking for like the direct answer of how to do X, Y, and Z. And I'm gonna be honest, no one has it. Like no one has it. Like I don't have it. No one has it. Things move too fast. I can say your song sucks and that shit might be a hit tomorrow. Like no one really knows, and that's why it's very important to like figure out your vision and stick to your vision. As long as you stick to your vision and you start seeing people gravitate towards it, that's who you should focus on. We always like from a grassroots level, we always were like, let's focus on our supporters first because they're the ones who are gonna push your career further. If you just continuously activate your base, they will talk about it to the point where people will find it, and your base is going to continue going, as opposed to always trying to go straight to the top. Of like, I need this feature from this person because you can get that feature from whomever. That doesn't mean their fans are going to gravitate towards you. Like,
Right. Right. No, yeah, you're right. Like taking those 10 solid listeners and fans and turning them into 20, and then that 20 into 40, and it's
Exactly.
just yeah,
The same
dude.
way we did shows, bro. We used to fucking drive to Austin, Texas, and go to this festival and that festival, and it'd be 10 people in there, 20 people in there. But
And-
shit, we perform like it was 300, and then next time we come back, it's 100 people. Next time we come back, it's 500, and
Yep.
then I'm coming to on shows this going. I'm seeing 2,000, 3,000 people in
I,
cities that we never really go to. You know what I
I
mean?
was
And that,
I was gonna say those some of those Earth Gang shows, man. Like to see the
yeah, like
organic
Spirit was
growth.
crazy.
Oh
Yeah,
my God!
Spirit was
Just to see
crazy.
it's just the organic growth from not even our city, just you guys traveling the world with Earth Gang, and like
Yeah.
they're just selling out little like these. It went from being like littler clubs to like these actual big venues. It's like,
Yeah, I watched him
geez,
do 20,000 in South Africa on a festival. It's like, that shit is crazy. That's perspective, but that's also coming from a space of like just focusing on your vision and just staying true to it.
yeah,
Because if you put the work in, it'll come back. It always will come back. And/or will tell you
Truth.
you should probably do something else. One or two things.
Truth.
yeah,
Like
Yeah,
either you figure it out or you figure it out. Like,
you
look,
figure
this
it
ain't
out.
this is
Yeah,
for me
this
or
ain't
this ain't
working.
for
yeah,
me.
yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
And
maybe.
probably if you in the same position where you started, years from now, then it's probably time to hang it up.
Yeah, that's how it is.
Be
That's how it
realistic.
is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now with all of the new stuff, with the new signings and everything that's going on, like how do you see coming out of this quarantine and maybe even like what's some of you guys' plans for 2021 for the next year?
Let's see. I mean, outside of the music side, like we're trying to get a brick and mortar right now in Atlanta for the label to just have a creative space to work on. Trying to figure out ways to like really be for us. It's always about fostering community on the ground level. That like never feeling like any of us are too big to talk to. You know what I mean? Whether that meant throwing showcases, in different cities, or that meant throwing different mentorship events or panels in different cities. We're just trying to figure out ways to like really affect community and like really feel like we're a part of the community.
Yeah,
That way, like someone can see me. Like I travel a lot from. I was traveling a lot from touring, so it was like I always wanted people to feel like comfortable to just say what's up. You know what I mean? Like I used to hate coming to cities and seeing fans that and then recognize who I am, but also be like, oh, like I don't like because
yeah,
I'm like, bro, like just say hi, like what's up, like
right,
I'm a regular person, like this is achievable, this is not far fetched. I never want
right.
to feel like no matter how big I get in this shit, I always want to feel like the common man, and I aspire to always be that. I always invite people to just hit me up because it's not that deep. Like, even when I talk to like texting niggas like Wapo Lennon and things like that. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, I always want to feel like a bridge, at least a conduit. Even if it's not me directly working with you, it's like being able to provide some type of insight to where, like, okay, I can call this nigga and just ask him a question. I could just say what's up. You know what I mean? Like,
Right,
I always
right.
wanted it to be like that. So, for since the 80s, it's always been figuring out ways to really affect community on the ground level. Be of the people, live with the people, learn with the people,
Yeah.
and that way we can continuously build our community.
Thanks.
Because that's what's important.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Motor Flack's back. I think he's waiting in the side lobby. We can pull
Okay.
him in.
Yeah, his phone died.
Oh, he said he's gone again. So yeah, our producer's talking to us, so he's
Yeah,
gone again.
his phone died, so we might not be getting flagged back, but he was definitely tapped in though.
Yeah, right.
So you brought up Guapo Lennon. How tapped in are you with some of the talent here in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, local scene.
Bro, I need to tap back in. Truthfully, like I'm aware of Guapo. I'm trying to think who else. Who else am I aware of in the city? Um, damn. Kush Wilkes.
I was
Yeah.
about to say him. I was just about to
Yeah,
say
bro. I
him.
remember he was locked up. I'll never forget. Shout out to my nigga Mark. He used to play me Kush Wilkes. We used to run out the city all the time. and Grace. My girlfriend Grace used to play me Kush Wilkes all the time. So I remember when he was locked up, running around.
Oh, we got another pause like last week. Have you seen this man?
Have you seen? Yeah, right. Have you seen this man?
Oh, there we go. He's back.
He's coming back.
You had paused for a second. Oh wait, it's robotic. You back?
I paused.
Yeah. You had a pause. My bad. There we are.
Now he looks good. Yeah, look at that. Woo!
I think I'm back. I'm back.
Yep.
Cool. What was the last thing I said?
You was talking about Kush and how you seen him before.
Kush Wilkes, yeah.
Yeah. So like seeing him get out of jail and like really hit the city hard is fire. Because I think like it's very important for the streets of the city to get to continue to get their shot. Because there's a lot of talent in the city, period. But so watching Kush Wilkes, watching Wapo Lennon, watching these artists from the city like start moving around. I think for me that's what's most important is like. Because we see it every time, bro. It's really making sure that when like when you get to a certain point in the city, you gotta make sure that you start doing necessary things to move outside of the city. Like it's super important because if you only focus on being the biggest, most popular person in the burg, unfortunately, with our infrastructure in the city and entertainment, that does not matter. So like you could be the biggest person in the burg for a summer, for a year, and eventually that's going to die down. So it's important that when you start getting that energy in the city, that you start figuring out ways to kind of expand. Whether that means start doing shows in Ohio, whether that means start working with other artists that you feel like are your peer group, is in your peer group. Like it's important to always look at it as a growth period, never get comfortable. Because we see it too often of artists getting big in the city and just kind of get comfortability and at some point that hype dies out.
True.
Yeah, that put me on, but y'all can always put me on. I always tell people put me on. I'm aware of him.
Kush Wilkes has definitely been on my radar for a while, and he's made some movement back up the ladder as of recent. I'm still aware of some of the others like shoot. I mean, it's plenty that I can name, but I'm trying to think.
Yeah, like Young and Wise.
Reese Youngin still doing his thing. You know what's so crazy to me about Reese Youngin? He's probably like
he's still young. That Reese is still young.
Yeah, that, and he's probably one of like the most talented when it comes to just like pure spitting. Like Duke is like we had him on. He was one of our first guests on Bird Boys, and he probably freestyled for like an hour, bro.
Yeah, he would just
say the same thing.
Right.
Didn't say the same thing. Was just rapping for an hour. Yeah. So he's always been on the radar. Another person.
I was gonna say like Asco, Stunna. Like these dudes are still working. They're still doing their things.
And like, Stunna 2 Fly is intriguing too because he's also a producer.
Right. He started making his own stuff.
He's grown and matured in a level that he produces his own beats. His beats have matured. So he's
all of them. Stunna, Asco, all of them have come such a long way. Stunna specifically, yeah, I agree with you on the production. And I think that's why it's important to continue growing because you never know how you learning something, another part of your artistry is going to take you further. And now Stunna's also producing, so it's like there's another lane for him to see certain success to work with different artists. That's important. Right. That's super important.
Absolutely.
Thanks. Well, we appreciate you, man. I don't want to, keep you too long. We talked about a lot of great stuff today, man.
Yeah, and hey, I hope you guys get that BET award. I hope Wolfgang gets that. I hope they get that.
Thanks.
Best group.
If we don't get it this year, we will get one for sure.
For sure, absolutely, man. And hey, real quick before you go, how insane was that Grammy party?
Yeah.
Was it lit?
Yeah, it was lit. That was legendary moment. That was lit. I was
Bro,
lit.
I was watching them videos. You guys all look so fucking good, man. Representing well.
Yeah, man. Shouts to the city always and forever.
Well,
Always
we
and forever.
thank you, man. We thank you so much, Zeke. Big blessings. You take
Thank
care.
you guys.
Best wishes to
No
you and your
doubt.
family, and
Thank you.
stay
Appreciate it.
safe.
All right, y'all
Absolutely,
too.
man.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
All right, brother.
Peace.
And mask off, face the future like high noon. News keep on saying we'll die soon. Sit back and roll up to my tunes. And if I'm wrong before the end of the song.
Man, thanks y'all for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all the questions that we had live. We didn't get to ask any of them. I did see one at the end about his famous shish kebab recipe. So hopefully off there he can answer that for you. But shout out to all the people that we mentioned and all the artists we didn't mention. Definitely Deej is one of them. Deej is crazy in the bird.
Hey,
And
I got if I get the platform, I got to shout out my brothers JKJ, Palermo
yeah,
Stone,
franchise.
franchise. You already know the baby face
The
Don Dada.
the
Hey,
rare family.
how about Vinny Radio's coming back? He bought his own studio equipment. This mother, ooh, he's about to come back. He's literally,
Oh,
bro. Vinny is literally one of my favorite artists in this city. Has been for since I was growing up listening to, because I really grew up listening to like a lot of the East End Empire shit, being like
mm-hmm.
friends with a lot of the dudes. So like just to see everybody like kind of coming full circle. Even like BD came back, and seeing John
Facts.
Quest back, and Hubs is a
Shout out to John
freaking
Quest.
Hubs is amazing.
Yeah,
Like there's
Hubs is
so
doing
many
his thing
people.
with the hoodies and stuff too.
Yeah, I mean, look at, and then you got T Bev's whole crew. All of them from Quiet Douglas
Facts.
to Campiola to you have Johnny Mace. What's his
Facts.
name?
They all
Kilo
doing their thing.
Dutch. Kilo
Oh
Dutch.
yeah,
That dude's visuals have been unreal.
crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
facts.
man. Shout out to everybody that's working, man, and we appreciate y'all for tuning in. We lost our brother Flack, but his phone died, so he was still watching, but he was here for the
Majority of it.
more than a majority of the episode.
We
And
miss you, Flack.
listen,
We love
man,
you.
we love you, Flack. Roll up some more of that Kush for us.
Swear.
But yeah, man, tune in next week. Thank y'all for tuning in.
Actually,
Make sure
hey, bro.
y'all
You know
follow us
what?
on Instagram and Twitter at the Berg Boys.
At the Berg Boys, make sure, and then YouTube, the Berg Boys Show. And hey, Mo, next week we got to eat Dan.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's
Next
gonna
week we
be
got a big surprise because we're gonna be in studio. Since quarantine, our first in studio with the legendary E Dan, man. So make sure y'all there for that. Y'all don't want to miss that, man. Hey man, shout out to the high rollers, man.
shouts to the
Shout out
Berg
to
Boys.
Lonnie. Shout
Shouts
out
to
to
the
the
Berg Boys.
Berg Boys. Shout out to all of my people, man. Y'all know what it is. Tuesday
Hey,
night chill spot. Shout out
yeah,
to our producer Chris as well.
yeah, Chris. Thank you, Chris, our producer, the voice of God. You guys can't hear him, but we can. Hey, I just gotta say too. Shouts to McQueen. Shouts to Taylor Gang. Much appreciate you guys. Looking forward to get back in the studio. That's for damn sure. And hey, the other thing too. McQueen's in a bunch of
South,
stores
yeah, you
locally.
can get it in the
So
South Side Wine and Spirits.
yep,
And if they're not in your locals wine and spirits, go to them and order it, and they should be able to get it now.
you should get it. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, it's the Berg Boys. DJ Spills.
DJ Motor, man.
We
Sir
out.
Flackwood.
Sir Flackwood. Thank you guys so much.
See y'all next week.